In the entire history of the Mahabharata, there is one weapon that stands above everything else. Not because of its destructive power, not because of a divine origin, but because of one extraordinary fact that most people never talk about. Gandiva, the legendary bow of Arjuna, was not given to him, it was not inherited, it was not won in battle. Gandiva chose Arjuna, and today we find out exactly why. Before we understand why Gandiva chose Arjuna, we need to understand what Gandiva actually was. Most people think of it as simply a powerful bow, but Gandiva was something far beyond that. Gandiva was created by Brahma himself, the creator of the universe. At the very beginning of creation, it existed before most gods were born, before the earth was formed, before humans walked this world. For thousands of cosmic years, it passed through the hands of the greatest divine beings in existence. Brahma held it for 65 years. Prajapati held it for 60 years. Indra, the king of gods, held it for 85 years. And finally, Varuna, lord of the oceans, kept it in his divine underwater realm. Each of these beings was extraordinary. Each was among the most powerful in all creations, and yet none of them were its true owner. Gandiva was waiting, patient as the ocean itself, waiting for the one warrior it was meant for. The story how Gandiva came to Arjuna begin with fire. Agni, the god of fire, had a problem. He was hungry, not in the ordinary sense. Agni needed to consume the Gandiva forest, a vast ancient forest, to satisfy a divine hunger that had been building for years. But the Gandiva forest was protected. Indra, king of the gods, shielded it with rain every time Agni tried to burn it. Agni needed a warrior powerful enough to hold back Indra himself, to shield the burning forest from divine rain long enough for Agni to complete his feast. He looked across all of creations for such a warrior, and he found two, Krishna and Arjuna, sitting peacefully by the Yamuna river one afternoon. Agni approached them in disguise as a Brahmin. He made his request, and then he revealed himself in his true blazing form. But there was a problem. Arjuna had no weapon capable of holding back the king of the gods. So Agni went to Varuna, and Varuna, without hesitation, brought up from the depth of his ocean the weapon that had been waiting there for thousands of years, Gandiva. This is the question at the heart of everything. Why Arjuna? Indra was more powerful, Karna was arguably more naturally gifted, Bhishma had fought longer, Drona had more knowledge. So why did Gandiva, a weapon that had rested in the hands of Brahma and Indra themselves, end up with a human warrior? The answer lies in something deeper than power. Arjuna had three qualities that no other warrior in history combined in the same way. The first was absolute focus. From childhood, Arjuna's concentration was supernatural. When Drona tested his students by asking them to shoot the eye of a bird, every other student described the tree, the branches, the other birds. Arjuna saw only the eye. Nothing else existed. This was not just skill, this was a quality of consciousness that weapons like Gandiva respond to. The second was dharmic clarity. Even on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Arjuna's heart broke at the sight of his family on the opposing side, he didn't run. He sat with his confusion. He asked the deepest question a human being can ask, and he listened to Krishna answer completely. A warrior who can hold both love and duty simultaneously without destroying either is rare beyond measure. The third was divine blessing. Arjuna was the son of Indra himself. He had performed intense penance and received weapons from Shiva, Yama, Varuna, and every major deity. He had earned the respect of the divine world through years of devoted practice. Gandiva didn't choose Arjuna randomly. Gandiva recognized in Arjuna the rarest combination in existence, human heart and divine purpose living in the same body. Once Gandiva came to Arjuna, its true nature was revealed. This was not ordinary bow. Gandiva weighed as much as 10,000 ordinary bows. No human being could string it, draw it, or even lift it, except Arjuna. In his hands alone, it becomes weightless, responsive, alive. When Arjuna drew Gandiva, the sound it produced was not just bowstring snap, it produced a supernatural resonance that could be heard across the entire battlefield, a sound that made enemies' hearts fill with fear before a single arrow was released. Gandiva never needed to be restrung. It never weakened, it never broke. No weapon in existence could damage it. It could release arrows at a speed that defied human perception. During the Kurukshetra war, witness described Arjuna's arrow as a continuous golden stream, impossible to see individually, only as a wall of light moving toward the enemy. And most extraordinarily, Gandiva amplified every divine weapon Arjuna invoked. When Arjuna called upon the Brahmastra through Gandiva, its power was multiplied beyond what any other warrior could achieve with the same weapon. Gandiva didn't just carry Arjuna's arrow, it carried his intention, his dharma, his divine purpose. On the 18 days of Kurukshetra war, Gandiva became the sound of inevitability. Every morning when Arjuna raised Gandiva and his string sang across the battlefield, both armies felt it, not just as a sound, as a signal that today Dharma would be defended. Bhishma acknowledged it, Drona feared it, Karna respected it, even as he faced it. When Krishna asked Arjuna to lower his bow on his first day, it was the only time in the entire war that Gandiva was silent, and in that silence the entire cosmos held its breath, until Arjuna lifted it again, and the Bhagavad Gita was born. After the Mahabharata war ended, after 18 days of most devastating conflict in human history, Arjuna did something that no conqueror in history had ever done. He returned Gandiva. He walked to the ocean shore and he placed the divine bow back into the waters of Varuna's realm. Because Arjuna understood something profound, Gandiva was never his possession. It was never a trophy or a prize. It was a responsibility lent to him for a specific divine purpose. When the purpose was fulfilled, he let it go with the same grace with which he had received it. Gandiva chose Arjuna not because he was the strongest warrior who ever lived. He chose him because he was the most complete one. Focus without ego, power without pride, devotion without attachment. In the end, the greatest weapons in the existence don't look for the most powerful hands, they look for the purest heart. If the story moved something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, and stay with Krishna wisdom for more stories that time forget to tell. Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna.